Kyrie Irving will never play another game for the Brooklyn Nets. Ever. While you like the video and subscribe to the channel, let me take a sip from the sponsor. Look, Kyrie Irving he's a great player. He is a fantastic player. I think he's the greatest ball handler of all time. He was an unbelievable second man on the Cleveland Cavaliers championship team. Kyrie Irving is most teams' best player. He's a top 20 guy when he's healthy or when he's available to play, let's say. And as we know, he and Ben Simmons have been the two biggest headlines all offseason. And it's been really interesting. It's been really interesting, and I think the big thing against the Brooklyn Nets has always been their health. It's always been them. You know, I think on paper they're definitely the most talented team in the entire NBA, and if injuries were turned off and we were in a 2K simulation, the Nets are probably going to win a couple of championships here and there, as they should. I mean, they have Kevin Durant, who is arguably the greatest scorer of all time. They have James Harden, who is arguably the best scorer of the generation, and they have Kyrie Irving. And need I say more, you know? And it doesn't even include the depth that they have. It's impressive. The Brooklyn Nets are a fantastic team, but from the beginning, the reason that the Brooklyn Nets have not won anything is because of injuries. Granted, it's been 1 year of the three together, and it hasn't even been that. I mean, they've played, 20-something games together? It's always been health. It's always been availability. And with this past offseason, this whole Kyrie Irving thing has come into fruition. It's this... Politics aside, I'm not even going to get into any of it because, you know, this is a YouTube sports channel, but he decided not to take the vaccine, and for whatever reason, he decides not to take the vaccine, and it is not what the Nets want. And this past offseason, before all of this vaccine stuff, they've been talks of re-signing Kyrie, of re-signing James Harden, and you guys know the amount of draft picks that the Brooklyn Nets sent Houston in return for James Harden. And now with this going on, Kyrie Irving, with breaking news, is not going to be offered an extension to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. That is humongous news. And the really, really big takeaway I get from that is the fact that I think that means he's never going to play again. I mean, you would imagine if Kyrie comes back for half a season and they win still, they would offer Kyrie an extension. But the fact that they're going to come out publicly and say now that they're not planning on offering him an extension means that he's probably on the way out, which leads me to believe maybe Kyrie's done. You know, maybe Kyrie is just done playing basketball. If anybody's going to retire like Calvin Johnson did basically in their prime, Kyrie's the guy. You know, the Brooklyn Nets went from saying, you know, we're going to take him for 41 games, take him when we can, to basically saying he's not going to play for the city, to saying we're not going to sign him. That's a lot of information over the past week, and as a Sixers fan, damn, it feels good not to be the center of attention with a problem in the locker room. Damn, it feels good. Thank you, Kyrie. But it's just really interesting, and it's kind of wild to think that the Brooklyn Nets may never be what everyone was expecting them to be simply because of Kyrie. And, you know, for whatever reasons he seems to be standing true to what he does. And a lot of people are like, no, he does it for attention. People like this do it for attention. Normally, maybe, but Kyrie Irving, no. I firmly believe that Kyrie Irving does not do what he does and is not who he is for attention. I really think he does it because it's just what he likes. I honestly don't think he enjoys attention. Most of the time people are ever talking about him, it's not because he's trying to bring it on himself. It's just that he's being himself, and then it is brought on to him inadvertently, kind of. And with Kyrie, it's just so crazy to me that I really guess that he's 100% behind not taking this shot, and he's just not playing with Brooklyn. And I mean, I know he has that ring, but it's kind of crazy how he's passing up on this opportunity to play with a healthy big three in a city where it would be incredible for them to win a championship. I mean, the whole Kyrie thing, I wonder what Nets fans think of him. I wonder if it's similar to a Ben Simmons situation in Philadelphia. Probably nowhere near to the extent, but I wouldn't be hard-pressed to find people annoyed, you know? And I think they have their right. I think they have their right to be annoyed. I'm not going to, you know, discuss, I guess, my thoughts on it per se, but it's just a very interesting situation we have here. I mean, we're living in a new age. This is something that's happening that, dude, I don't think we could ever imagine. We could ever imagine 3 years ago in 2018, pre-everything, saying that an NBA player is going to have to miss the entire season because he doesn't want to get a vaccination. Could you believe? I mean, I couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't even imagine it. The way this world's changed in the past 2 years is wild. I mean, it's affected everything, and it's still affecting things. I mean, I'm thanking God that it's over with for the most part, you know? I mean, we're basically back to normalcy, but this is crazy. This is a crazy situation, and I really don't think Kyrie Irving is ever going to play another game for Brooklyn. I mean, you would imagine Brooklyn would try and trade him, but then it comes much different than the Ben Simmons thing. I think with the Ben Simmons thing is you're kind of trading for potential. You're kind of trading for like, okay, we know what he is now, but we think he can be a lot better, and we're willing to take the risk on believing that he's going to be a lot better and trading a decent amount of stuff for a guy we just believe in. I mean, that's dangerous. That's obviously dangerous, but you're kind of buying low on a pretty high caliber player. With Kyrie, you know exactly what you're going to get, but at the same time, you have no idea what you're going to get from him. You would imagine that, like, say Sacramento trades for Kyrie Irving. He's not going to want to play in Sacramento, dude. Like, he would probably retire. And with Kyrie, I think there is a serious looming thought of he's just not gonna play. He's just gonna retire. It's gonna hit the point where he's like, dude, I don't need this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And he's just hanging him up. Like, there is a serious thought behind that, and I think it's insane to think that owners and general managers and other teams aren't thinking the same way. I mean, it's real. It's a very real thing that Kyrie might just be done, and so his trade value is as low as it's been for entirely new reasons other than Ben Simmons. I mean, so many. It's just the fact that, like, you can't trade him to certain cities because he's not going to be able to play at the home games. And then say it's a Brooklyn-New York Knicks series in the playoffs, the dude's not going to be able to play a single game in the playoff series. So, I mean, teams like the Knicks got to be out, you know, and it just doesn't seem like Kyrie's budging. And at the same time, it's like the guy just might call it a career. I mean, he genuinely might just be like, I'm done. This is extremely interesting, guys. And I am thanking God this is not happening to the Sixers. Peace.